All right, you're now tuned in to the Rotated Views podcast. I am your host, Jimmylee Velez. I'm here with Heck, Manny, Gabe, and we have a special guest, Devin DeShields.
What's up? My name is Devin DeShields.
There he is. This podcast is titled Live Your Dash. In this episode, we have special guest Devin DeShields, the creator of the Dashy Factory. After giving us a brief bio on himself, Devin explains the Dashy Factory, why he started it, and what the vision is for the company. We were lucky enough for him to explain his new collection, The Quarter Life, which is a new digital series inspired by true stories, Ted Mack's Food Shack, a new pop-up cooking show, and of course the Hammy Grail, which is a new book Devin authored, and it's now available on iTunes. We wrapped the episode up with quotes from Les Brown and Louis Tomlinson. All right, so you guys know the drill. I like to define something from dictionary.com, and I defined the word dash, which is defined as spirited action, vigor in action, or style. So this one is titled Live Your Dash. If you're new, thank you. Don't forget to download and subscribe. We drop an episode every Tuesday morning. All right, so we had Devin here with us in the studio, and we kind of wanted to drill him down with some questions as to who he is, where he's going, and how it all happened. So, Devin, give us a little bit a background about yourself, aside from your career path professionally, and then how it separates from what you're doing on the side.
Well, let's. So I understand the podcast is called what's today's the Live Your Dash, but my name is Devin DeShields, but my nickname is Dash for no reason, and the reason for that is because I just started telling people one day my name is Dash when they ask me like, "Oh, what's your name?" And I'd say Dash. That's what's going to be from now on.
Are you serious?
Legitimately.
That's great.
From age 1 to 18, I was Devin DeShields, and then I went to college, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to try something different. So the first time someone asked me what my name was, I was like, I speak very fast.
Yeah.
So they were like, what's your name? Devin DeShields. Huh? Devin DeShields. Dash? You know what? The Incredibles just started. I'll do that. I'll do that. And legitimately, like, after that first person asked me what my name was, and they said Dash, I was like, oh yeah, I'm right with that.
That's a cool nickname.
I think so.
Yeah, I like
and
that.
then so people always ask you like, so why do they call you Dash? I'm like, oh, I was fast in high school.
Yeah.
You know, I
thought you were gonna say it was school.
Yeah, I think I might have said like, oh, it's the beginning of my first name and the end of my last name. It's not, but people would like don't care. Like when you're a freshman in college, no one cares what the reasonings for anything is.
Yeah.
I could have said anything. They're like, oh yeah, it's cool. All right, I'll call you Dash from now on. So,
right.
But that's the nickname that I ended up keeping. I didn't think it was gonna last, and you know, my nickname became Dash. My name became Dash for a lot of years, and then so the website that I created was called the Dashy Factory because, I mean, as I became Dash, or as I kept using the nickname, I would do dashy things. Like, I don't know, just be humorous and do things that people didn't expect or whatever. And she'd be like, oh, he's just being dashy or whatever.
So is Dashy your alter ego?
Yeah, Dash is the alter ego.
That's his Sasha.
Devin is a person, and Dash is legitimately a character that I was able to just harness, I guess, and just do things under the name of Dash. And I don't know. I
but
guess
then you could disown it when it was like
when it was time to.
I can't really disown it. It's like,
oh man,
because now as a grown man now, you know, I introduce myself as Devin. It's like, your name is Dash. I'm like, no, it's not. My name is actually Devin, and you know this. Like, you know my mother, you know my father.
Because now you just can't get away from it.
As I've gotten older, like, you know, I like to be taken seriously sometimes, but it's like, nah,
See,
that's
now,
Dash.
But here's the thing, though. How did it work when you went back home?
Oh, okay.
So, because that's always weird. Because we had a friend who like totally went thug when he went to college, and then came back. We're like, whoa,
okay,
you're soft. You can't just transition to being thug all of a sudden.
I understand.
And he lied to everybody.
When I was I grew up in South Jersey, like 30 minutes from Temple. So when I went to college, I lived on campus, but a lot of my friends, they either went to Rutgers, New Brunswick, or they went to, you know, Camden County around, or they were close by.
Yeah.
So I pretty much took all my friends with me to college. So Thursday nights, come to Temple. Friday nights, come to Temple. So Monday afternoon or Monday morning, they would go back to, and I had friends that I had basketball teammates and whatnot, and they would go to high school on Monday morning.
Yeah.
So they were going back and telling their friends stories of things that were going on at Temple. And I'm like, yeah, my name is Dash, and you were doing things with Dash at Temple. So when you say his alter ego, like people at high school would be like, oh, what's that Temple hanging out with Dash? Like, who's Dash? Like, he goes to Temple, and Devin introduced us, and that's what it was. So, I mean, when I go home, people knew, like, my friends knew that there were two people. I was going to Temple hanging with Devin, and they met some kid named Dash. And that was that. It wasn't like, oh, I'm hanging. What, your name is Dash now? Like, no, Dash is at Temple. And if you come to Temple, you can meet him. So
that's great. So what happens with Dash stays with Dash.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
Right.
And then, all right. So then you moved on to. So was your career path at Temple what you do now?
No. I went to school for education purposes to go and teach other kids. I wanted to go to school and be a high school history teacher, and that was the goal. Like. Only because, like, oh, they get summers off, and I've been in school my whole life, so why can't I teach it for the rest of my life? And it didn't work out. So
that's fascinating, though. History. What?
I always liked historical stuff.
Yeah.
Like legitimately, I could go through. I really liked American history. Like,
okay.
Not so much world history, but I really, really liked American history.
Yeah.
Cultural influences and all that kind of stuff, and I just and history came easy to me. So I was like, I can teach it because I know it well. And actually, my freshman year, I did take I took a world history course or something like that, civilizations, and I ended up tutoring some kids in my class. I don't know how that happened, but they were like, you know what you're doing, you know how to write and all that kind of stuff. Help us write these papers and take these tests. So I actually tutored people.
See, what I like about history is that it doesn't change.
No.
Right? There's other topics where it's like, oh, you have to stay, like an IT guy, that's constantly changing. You have to constantly stay educated. I'm sure you can expand your horizons and get more in depth with certain topics, but it's still, generally, it's the same.
The past is the past.
The past is the past.
And you kind of learn different influences. Like if this war started for this reason, but like there's different sides to every story. So,
right, true.
I mean, but for me, it was just like, it's easy, so why not, go into it after high school or after college? But
so you studied history, and then somehow
I got
the creative part of you came out, and because even just talking right now, I already feel like there's a lot of creativeness.
I don't know if I think everybody's creative. Everybody says like, oh, you see things differently. I don't think anybody. I think we all see things differently. That doesn't make anybody. I think we're all unique. But. Yeah, I think I do see things differently than other people. It doesn't make me any more or less creative than anyone else.
Gotcha.
But to deviate away from wanting to teach, I've always enjoyed good stories, like storytellers. Have like the best storyteller ever. I feel like is Magic Johnson. Like I could listen to him or Charles Barkley, like just tell stories about the NBA. I'll enjoy it forever. Anytime like any athlete or entertainer wants to tell a story, like I sit and listen. So and I enjoy a good story, and I think I can tell a good story. So I wanted to be a storyteller, not necessarily like a teacher of history. So I don't know where the creative stuff came. I mean, just different mediums to do things, and they're more accessible now. Like, you guys want to start a podcast? Oh, let's just send the kids to bed. We're going to do a podcast.
Exactly.
And you can do that now. Like, you want to write a book? All right, sit down, type some words on a paper, and turn into a book. Like, everything is so accessible now.
There's a lot more different outlets you can do.
Right.
Use.
Yeah, like, and you literally can do anything if you just figure it out. So I think I just took that route at some point. Just like, let me just do something that nobody else is doing. Like, I don't have any friends that wrote a book before.
Right.
I'll be that friend then.
Yeah.
So was that the motivation behind the book?
Yeah, that was one of the motivations. Just to legitimate. I have a lot of different friends who do a lot of different things, but I don't have anybody that wrote a book before. So it's like, and I we all sit in the same basement or the same porch and tell the same stories to each other. And I'm just like, I can put this down. I could turn this into some type of oral history. So
the title of your book is The Hammy Grail. Give us a little. I know you're already alluding to it, but a little bit of background and how it got started. I read a couple chapters, and I know Manny read the entire book. Mm-hmm. But so just give us a little bit of background how this even came about. And you already, like I said, the whole Temple days, and you had stories for days. And
I've always had, like I feel like I'm a harvester of stories. Like if you got a story, I'll sit and listen to you. And I'll be like, all right, I'm taking notes at all times. Like you did this. Like even when I was in the earlier days of college and, sitting with old heads and we're sitting around drinking and whatnot, they're talking about stuff that happened like last summer and I wasn't there for that.
Right.
So I'm like, I want to do that. I want to have my own stories.
Right.
So, I think I was working a job in North Jersey, and they didn't pay attention to me. Like, I had an office in the back I was working at an alternative school in North Jersey. So I had an office in the back of the school. No one ever came to visit me.
Yeah.
I had unlimited internet access. I had keys to the building. So I'm just like sitting here doing nothing all day. Like, no one was ever checking on the work I was doing. I'm just legitimately getting paid to sit. And I just decided to start typing. And I was thinking about, like, I just left school for a little bit, and I was thinking about the old college days. So I just started writing stuff down. Started in my notes on my phone, just like, writing stuff like little blips.
Yeah. And
then I was like, all right, I got stories. I'm gonna expand them, and I made it into a bunch of different chapters. But basically, the stories was of the book. The premise of this book is fast times at Ridgemont High, only for college. Like, this is the fun time. Like, we all go to school. We get older. We grow up, and we do dumb things. I'm just putting it down on paper. And I'm able to tell a story in a descriptive way. And so I wanted to write a bunch of different stories. I learned some lessons along the way. And that's basically it. It's just a funny story of college tales and misadventures. It's called The Hammy Grail because the main character's name is Hamilton Carr, and he's called Hammy. So his friends call him Hamilton. And like the Holy Grail is either something that can't be attained or a strenuous journey. So we're looking for the ultimate college tale. So you're either trying to attain the ultimate college tale, or the college era is the ultimate college tale. That's basically what the book is about. So
after reading the book, these are situations and things that happen everywhere, right? Like, every student goes through it. But after reading the book, how you portray these stories and the detail that you use in these stories just take it to a whole nother level. When you're writing these books, or when your thought process was going on, are you writing as you speak, or do you have to think these lines out like, oh, that's going to be funny, or do they just come to you kind of spitfire as you're going along?
Well, I think I try to write as I speak, because we live in this era of Twitter and Instagram and posts on Facebook, and people like to read like these brain vomits. You write from the brain onto the page so you can read it. So I try to write in a way where you can hear my voice, and then I go back and I'm like, all right, let's try to make this grammatically correct and whatnot. But I do write in a way where it's got to be descriptive. I grew up watching a lot of stand-up, and stand-up is a guy with a mic or a girl with a mic, and they tell you a story, and you can listen. Because I used to listen to stand-up. I had Chris Rock's Bigger and Blacker on CD. Like, I didn't see the actual special at first. I had it on a burned CD. Some kid named Brent, who used to pick on me in high school, but he would sell us CD or burn CDs. He got me Bigger and Blacker, and he charged me. He upcharged me too. But I'm
like $10, $10 for a burn.
Yes, like everybody else is getting it for $5, and it's like, all right, can I get it for $5? He's like, no, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm not eating today. So, I used to listen to a lot of stand up on CDs. So when I write, I look at it more so like it's stand up and it's storytelling. And you have to be able to envision what it is that I'm trying to convey. So it's a very descriptive book, like very descriptive.
For anybody who hasn't read it or will read it, if you enjoy being in somebody's head, kind of everybody has the other, the little guy in your head speaking to you. That's what it sounds like. Like, he's having a conversation with himself at all times, which I found fascinating. I was like, he's literally going back and forth with the kind of the devil on his shoulder and the angel on his shoulder, and he's going back and forth. And it's just funny. It is an exceptionally funny book for sure.
Yeah, the second I picked up the book, I started reading it, and it was the first thing that popped in my mind. It's like I felt like I was there with him experiencing it. There's nothing worse than a book that's so dry that you're not. There's nothing worse than a book that reads like a textbook. Yeah. For educational purposes, and yes, there's content in there, but the way it was delivered is horrible. But this was. It was like one of those books where you wanted to go to the next chapter. It just kept going because it was so descriptive. You're like, dude, I felt like I just went through this little experience. And the Hammy Grail has a variety of stories. And I read the chapter, The Good Book. So Manny popped me. He's like, all right, read this, read this, read this. Because I had it limited time. I only had it for like 2 days. And I read the intro and the outro and stuff like that. But just in that, small excerpt, that's why I guess I read the book and I was thinking that's why I came with the whole creative things. I'm like, dude. And it's exactly the first thing Manny was saying is like, do you go back and rewrite or rethink how you're going to structure your sentences? Because the way the book flows is it's laid out very well. And the description, if you're one of those people who I'm a slow reader, so you probably could read this book in a night. If
it's a quick. I think it's supposed to be a quick read. Like, whether it's engaging enough to read for a night, or you just like, I got a little bit of time on a flight.
Right.
I feel like it's quick.
Yeah, but and so is it really all your stories, or it was I believe the intro said it was a collaboration of.
Yeah, it's a collaboration of a bunch of, like, I have friends and we all have stories, and like everybody's story is pretty much, it doesn't matter what school you went to, like you've all experienced a red Solo cup or a game flip cup or been in a frat house. So a lot of these stories cross campuses. Right. But then like a lot of stuff that you just have to change the names. We're all married here, so so you gotta change venues or locations, you gotta change settings, and you gotta change names. But some stuff happened to me. And if you know me, if you're close to me, you kind of can pinpoint the things that I've influenced in the book. But there's a lot of stuff that, like I said, I'm a storyteller, so I could take different sample material and make it flow into, like, Hammy Carr is not a real person. Yeah. But I was able to craft all these stories from different ways, be as descriptive as possible, and make it into all his story. So
when you disowned the character and it wasn't you and it wasn't your boys, did it not get fun? I feel like I would have fun with that. Like I feel like it's like, all right, so now it's not, this isn't me, so let's make him do this too.
All right, so I'm a married man. Yeah. And my friends, a lot of them are married too. So a lot of these stories, like, with my friends know them, our wives know these stories. So they would know, who is what. Right. So that's why the names had to change. So when I first had to change the names, I was all about, this is not authentic now. This sucks. Like, this is the worst. I'm not putting this out. I can't get jiggy with this. It's not what I want to deal with. But then once I was able to, it was kind of liberating, because, all right, the names are changed, and now I can go more in. All right, I'm free now. Because granted, the people that already know the stories, they're bought in. They get it. They read it. They were upset about it. Now they're over it by now. Right. But the people that don't know me or weren't there in the moment, they can just really just enjoy the storytelling. Yeah. So I was able to be like, all right, I'm gonna make this as descriptive and as funny as possible for someone that doesn't know who I am. Somebody that went to school in Oregon and like, you know what, I went to a party just like this, and I knew a guy who was just like this, or a chick did that to me once and I thought I was the only one. Like, so that's what it really was. When I was able to take the names out and make this into a fun college tale, it was liberating.
How much was embellishment in the book, or were these legitimate?
Okay, so I don't want to say nothing is embellished. I'm just descriptive. So a lot of times my descriptions come with a lot of the way I describe things are for humor. Everything is true. Everything in the book happened. Nothing's embellished. It's just how I describe it to make it humorous. So I can be happy with the book, like, all right, this is 100% true, and the names are changed, because a lot of everything in the book happened. I just had to tell it in an entertaining way. So I don't think anything's embellished. If you read each chapter, I was true to everything that happened. I wrote it how it happened. I just want you to be able to see it.
Mind you, listeners, this is a gentleman who was Hammy Carr is an 18 to 20-year-old man. So when you're reading these, think about
Yeah, I'm a grown man now, but that was also a weird thing too. Writing these stories, because I had to write it from the first person perspective, so I had to put myself back into like 19-year-old mode. That's not someplace you want to go back to. I went back on Facebook and went through my old, like, I scrolled all the way back to like the first messages I was sending out. Wow. I was a terrible person. Like, I was a dumb person too. Like, yeah. Hey there, cutie with a booty. Like, like I shouldn't be married right now because I was a cornball. Like, it was terrible. But I was trying to, like, I was also doing some writing. I also was doing like research stuff too. Like, trying to remember certain stories. So I went back and like all the way down to, apparently I started on Facebook in 2006. And
oh my god,
yeah, I went all the way back, and it wasn't pretty.
I remember not it was the Facebook, and literally
Facebook.
Yeah, it was the Facebook, and I remember it not being what it is now.
Right.
No, not
and
at all.
obviously it grew into what it is now, but it was literally just messaging people. I felt like, and it was like you had a post, but it was really just we're trying to contact other people. And Temple, the way Temple, like I felt like when we signed up. I signed up when I was a freshman.
But you had to have an EDU
Yeah,
account
yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, you had it. Oh,
You had to get
that's
invited.
right.
College,
You had to
right.
get invited. Your school had to be a part of the network first.
That's right. And so Temple had these like groups of like, I guess like kids or whatever. They're like the hacky sackers over here. They would start like this own little, invites and start inviting. Like, dude, how do I get invited into this thing?
You
And
had
we
to be
just
part of groups and all that stuff.
Yeah.
There wasn't a wall and none of that stuff like it is now. It was all almost like an email messaging service.
Yes,
Or like
exactly.
or
No
like
pictures. You had one profile pic.
Yeah.
I actually got invited by one of my friends at Rutgers. Like, it wasn't a Temple student that invited me to. Like, he was like, "Are you on Facebook?" I'm like, "No, I don't know what that is."
And it was on invitation
Invitation only. I got invited to Facebook through a Rutgers contact. So.
Dude, you know how old that makes us sound right now? Like, we were at the beginning of the Facebook.
Facebook.
That's awesome. That's unbelievable.
We're the beta testers.
All right, so moving right along, the Dashy Factory. Is this? I'm on your website now. Is this? What's the point of the actual website itself?
It's a hub. So, being a creative person, like I wrote a book and I produced a web series and I produced my friend's cooking show, Ted Mac Food Shack. I don't see myself as like one thing. I'm just a producer of content.
Yeah.
I can write because I wanted to produce a book, or I can direct because I wanted to produce a web series. So the Dashy Factory is basically a hub of content, and the premise behind the Dashy Factory is I wanted to have a place where different content can just be showcased, and it just so happens that I'm the first person. I invented it. I created the site.
Right.
So what better way to promote the site by showing like, look, I can have this kind of content. Different types of content that people don't normally see. So the book is about college times. And the web series called Quarter Life is about the consequences of fast, fun college times. And then I just have an urban cooking show, a pop-up cooking show. We go to different cities and we'll like explore the city, and then we'll do different recipes and drink recipes from that city, and then we'll film it. And it's a strong focus on conversation and not so much the recipes and people, and just like shots people eating and enjoying the company of each other in a small, intimate gathering. And that's just the first phase of it. Basically, I wanted to do something where, so getting a little bit off topic, apparently Britain did some type of mandate where they, with their films, some type of way, they need to diversify their films. So they were saying like 2 or 1, like you need to cast brown people or people of diversity in your films so that they can have all diverse films. I don't think that's personally the best way to diversify Hollywood or the entertainment industry.
Right.
I think it's to go this route, empower producers, empower creators to make their own stories, and then you'll get these organic stories of diversity. And that's what the Dashy Factory is about. So I mean, the goal is to put out good content so that somebody would want help putting out their good content, and then we can just keep paying it forward.
So Ted Mac's Food Shack. So this is your boy?
Yeah.
Right.
He's my frat brother. He decided he's always been able to cook. Like,
Okay.
He's not in this book, he's in the second one, but when we were in college, he would always like cook for groups. Like, you go away for Thanksgiving break or Christmas break, but then there's these people that, might not be close by, they're at school for the over break. So he would just have people come by his house and he would just like have Thanksgiving and a big potluck. And that's what he did all throughout college. So now he's out of college and we don't want to go to these clubs and lounges and pay money and just hang out. So now he goes to your house and cooks for you and your friends, and we sit and chill and drink.
That's cool.
And then we just said, you know what? Let's get a camera going. We got some good conversation, got some good content. Let's film it. Let's throw a logo in there. Let's throw some music, cuss words. And let's have fun.
Bad boy.
Let's film it
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, that's awesome. We know a guy, Hermie. His is called his little business that he has is called Chow.
Mm-hmm.
It's Chef Hermie on wheels.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So it's kind of like he has that. He videoed a couple where he did like Facebook Live.
Mm-hmm.
But then I guess the people, I'm not sure how it worked. I guess I don't know if that was the direction he wanted to go in, but I found it fascinating watching other people eat and have their conversation. I know it sounds so creepy and weird, but they were like just talking. I'm like, because then when you're watching something, you try to you want to find a connection,
right?
And like, do I have these conversations when I eat with people? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I was like, well, what do they talk about when they're eating? So then I started like connecting with it. And he didn't do it past that one or two times, and the first one, I guess it was just like, I don't think he meant to do it. He was cooking for a couple for Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think he really wanted to get all into that. I just think he's just promoting himself. But in that promotion, I found it fascinating. I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. And I'm assuming that's what this kind of
you
is?
kind of like found that. I mean, we're not pitching to the Food Network because the content is just raw. We're in there talking. We're in there talking.
So
about
it's not
things.
just the meat.
Yes, yeah. We're in there talking about stuff. But I mean, it gets. I mean, we don't really have scripted conversation points, or I mean, sometimes we'll have some things that we might want to touch on, like if we're going to do a Valentine's Day episode, like we'll talk about little things pertaining to relationships. But for the most part, it's really about. All right, we're going to Maryland. Who do we know who lives in Maryland? All right, we're going to go to your house. All right, call like 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 of your friends. We're going to cook for you. You guys are going to have your own private party in your crib. And it's not going to be about getting drunk and staying on couches. You're just going to be in the house, chilling with your friends, having an organic conversation and eating, and maybe even learn like a new recipe or whatnot. So
Yeah. Is there a specific food that you think that he keeps trying to push, or he prefers to cook, or you guys? I do like the idea though. You guys said you're going to different cities and really.
When we go, so we went to Maine once, and we had too much fun. We didn't even film anything. We just had fun in Maine. And I mean, Maine is like home of the lobster, and we're eating lobster everything. We should have filmed that, but so we got to go back. But he does like to make mac and cheese stuff. Like he loves crab. Everybody loves his crab mac and cheese.
That sounds amazing.
It tastes good, and everybody. It's easy for him to make, and he makes it in huge quantities. But that's like his go-to dish. When he comes to my house in Philly, he makes chicken and waffles. Like he knows what it is.
Nice.
Now that's good.
I've never had chicken and waffles.
Yo, chicken and waffles, they're good. Is amazing.
It goes together very well.
It doesn't make sense in my head, but I can see why at the same time.
I didn't really start having it until maybe like. Not even like I don't have it on a consistent basis, but I'd never had it for the first time until like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah. I had it when I went to North Carolina. My buddies lived down in North Carolina, Wilbur and Gilbert, and Gil was like, "Yo, let's go to Bojangles," and I thought it was like a joke because it's Bojangles.
Right.
So whatever. We go down there. Sure enough,
chicken and waffles
and
it's a thing,
and biscuits and chicken or however you and it's fried chicken. Like you go to Popeyes and get fried chicken leg, fried chicken wings. It's fried chicken with waffles. Amazing.
But do you use syrup?
Syrup.
Yeah, some.
You use syrup.
But I'm okay.
It's
So
good.
I guess this is what I'm trying to
good.
figure out. So you eat a piece of chicken and then you bite into a waffle?
I mean, I went to a place in Vegas. They put the chicken on 2 waffles like a sandwich.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've had that a chicken breast,
Wow.
like a chicken patty type breast, and then I've had it with pancakes
Lettuce,
and biscuit. Yeah, no, that's good. It's good stuff.
Put lettuce, tomato, and everything.
What does McDonald's is a McGriddle? That's what that reminded me of when you said that. What is a McGriddle anyway?
McGriddle
It's
is
actually like 2
a
pancakes,
pancake with a sausage.
like sausage and egg and stuff in between.
Death.
Chick-fil-A has a breakfast biscuit and chicken sandwich, and they give you little tater tots.
Which is
good
playing
too.
around out here no more, man.
Chick-fil-A is amazing, so they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
All right, so explain the Quarter Life series, what your role is and how you started. So on the Dashy Factory, Devin explains, or Dash explains a few things of, basically this is a hub. So one of the things that are on here is a video series that I watched and was in tears laughing at some of these episodes. But how in the world did that even come about? Because again, I feel like some of the stuff is so random, but at the same time, it makes sense.
Some stuff is random, but I mean, for the most part, like we're part of this boomerang generation that goes away to school and ends up going right back home. Yeah. A lot of stuff, like everything that I write or do, like there's some type of connection to my life or somebody else's life that I was able to take from. So the Quarter Life Chronicles is basically like the consequences of having fun and doing whatever you want as a kid. Because when we're in college, it's like it's a fake real life. You know,
Yeah,
you're in a
yeah.
bubble. Yeah, you get to stay up late and you're on your own, but not really. You know, you're not really paying rent. You're living in a dorm and you got free cable. It's not real. Yeah. So then once you get into the real world, like it comes really quickly, and it's basically about like, you know, the series is about like when all that hubbub of I just graduated and I got my first job and I'm living on my own, like really on my own, and I got my own apartment or my own roommate. When that dies down, like this is it, like for the rest of your life, and so like maybe marriage or having a kid, like this is what you're doing from now on. And I know a lot of people struggle with that, like at age 24 or 25, like I'm working an entry-level gig and I don't know if I want to move up or not, like, or I mean, I don't know if I want to even, do I want to go back to school? So quarter life is basically that crisis that, you know, our generation and every generation I feel like has gone through this, but like we're millennials and everything hurts worse to us. But it's
so true.
It hurts so good.
Yeah, like nobody's ever been in debt. Like everybody's been in debt, but like we're really hurting from it. But it's basically just about coming to grips with. I mean, you know, real things happen. Like the main character, he loses his job in episode 1, and that actually happened to me in real life. Like I got called down to an office, and they were like, "Your credit report is awful. We can't give you a company card, so instead of not giving you a company card, you're just fired." And that was the day. Like there was no lunch.
Dude, that was the one I watched. I could not stop laughing.
That was real.
That was their determination because your credit report.
Yeah, because it was a position where because it was a position where, you know, I was working at a college. Okay. And you're supposed to go and, you know, do like the college tours and all that kind of stuff, and you're supposed to be able to represent the school well, and you know, sometimes you travel, so I guess there's sometimes they give you credit cards and whatnot. So they had decided at this point in time to start to revamp their background checks and how they do that. So anybody that had been hired already had to go through another background check. So I'd been hired, I'd been working there for a couple months, and they were just like, "Hey, red flag, you have terrible credit, and we don't know if we like that." So
that's wild.
That's crazy.
Give us the keys, cuz,
So
and go home.
It took 2 months to reconsider your
Basically,
hiring.
they were just like, "Yo, we didn't know this. That if you had told us up front, we wouldn't hire you." I was like, "Well, I didn't say up front because my credit report is actually terrible, and I didn't know that was a thing."
Well, I was hoping you wouldn't find out.
And in real life, like, so what happened in real life, like to me, was I got fired and I was like, "Cool," and I walked out. Like it was that I was so taken aback that I was just like, you know what? You're supposed to fire somebody like me. And I just walked right out and got in my car. And then I went home and reevaluated, like, yo, there's no more paychecks coming in. So I went back to the office the next day and I like had like a real conversation, you know, with the HR director. And she was like, "Why didn't you say this yesterday? Like, we just thought it was over." So they hired me back. But that was a crazy like 24 hours. Like I wasn't
So
feeling
they
good.
fired you and then rehired you the next day?
They fired me and rehired me.
That's
it
amazing.
It was.
Good job.
I don't know what that was about. That was a weird 24 hours. And I didn't even, my work was not the same after that either. I was like, you guys are firing cats for nothing out here. So,
You went to the stage of grief.
Yeah, there's no. I didn't. But it all happened like right after I walked out of the office. I sat in the car and everything just hit me. And
Went
I
to
was
denial and acceptance.
I got the acceptance. I hit me with the acceptance. I went home and I went home and I got mad. I was like, all right, I'm coming back in tomorrow. Now you're not just gonna fire me for nothing. I'm going to get escorted out of this, John. So that was that.
With the web series and then the book, I mean, is there a preference? Obviously, you can do both. What would you prefer, writing over producing, or vice versa?
They both have different things, so they're both very different. Both of them entail writing. The reason why I did the web series is because when I finished the first book, I just kept writing, and I wanted to, and like, as I was writing the second book, I was like, I don't want to write any chapters anymore. Let me just turn something to a script. So I just ended up deciding I'm going to turn these chapters into scripts and different stories. But when you write scripts, then you have to film scripts. You have to cast them. You have to produce the episodes. You got to find locations. And that in itself is a different thing I had to teach myself. So I think I prefer writing the books because it's just me. I don't have to really go out. I don't have to go out and find sound and the crew. I don't have to go find editors. I don't have to cast anything. I can just write and go find editors, and then write again. But as far as the production aspect of things, the visuals, I like that. I like that component, but I just don't. I'm not saying I don't like doing the web series. I'm just really, really involved in web series in ways that I'm not so much involved with the book, and I just kind of like to write and be done with it.
In writing the book, how much internal conflict do you have with, as far as, you know, should that be in there, going back and edit it edit it again, and then edit it one more time, and then re-edit. Is there such thing as just overkill and overthinking and overanalyzation?
Yeah, when I was in first grade,
Wow.
He went back.
He's really flecting.
because you asked me that, because I find it funny because I'll look at the book now and I'll be like, oh, I shouldn't have put that. Not like I shouldn't have put it in there, but I should have said that differently. I'm doing this thing right now where I'm putting like a quote of from the book a day on my Twitter page.
Oh, nice.
And it's like I don't got to to convey what you want to say in 140 characters. I don't know how Trump does it, but it's apparently it's doable. I can't do it.
It's so limiting. Yeah, I actually deleted Twitter because of that.
It's hard.
It frustrated me.
Yeah, I don't. And so I'm looking for quotes. And I'm long-winded. So I'm more so now when I look at the book, I'm like, I could have wrote that better, or I could have put that in a better way. But when I look at it, I don't ever look at it like I shouldn't. When I'm actually writing, I don't really think I do anything crazy. There were two. I'm like, oh, that's just too much. I have a wife for that, so she'll read it and she'll be like, come on, man, I got a family and I don't want them to read that. So like, she's kind of like my checks and balances, but I don't personally think that I need to, censor myself when I write, because I don't think I write anything super outrageous. But she actually is a good checks and balances for me. But
so is this your lane? Is comedy your lane? Could you do a documentary, a serious documentary? Could you produce something?
Yeah, that's the next thing that we're working on. We're working on a docu-series called Other Guys, where we're interviewing. We're doing an interview series of minorities in high growth sector positions. So like, just so that people know that minorities don't have to just rap and play sports. They can get high paying jobs out of college.
Dude, I thought you said they can just get high.
No.
What the hell kind of message is this?
Yeah, they don't just have to play sports, man. You can smoke this ganja. I that's something I do want to get in different. Like, I like the comedy. There's going to be some comedic significance in everything I do, but I definitely could do like a docu series or documentary or interview series. But I like to make people laugh. I like to do the humorous stuff here because it's easy, but I like humor. I just think it's fun to make people laugh.
Nice.
So when you're coming up with content, whatever medium you decide to deliver it through, do you have someone in mind? Like, is there someone that you look up to who has this kind of, I guess, creative sense, but and delivers their material, but in a humorous way? Is there someone out there that you kind of like respect or look up to who does this? Just for example, like a guy that we were talking about last week, like Adam Sandler or like the Wayans brothers. They all kind of, or I also think of I don't know why, but I thought of Jamie Foxx, how he did so many things,
right.
And you're like, holy crap, this dude's a singer. Yeah. He could play instruments. He's a comedian. Like, it's fascinating to me when someone's that talented. Is there someone like that you, or do you just?
I think I've always been a fan of Keenen Ivory Wayans, and I think it's because like you guys have a big family, and so like and as you can see, you're all working together. Yeah. So my thing has always been to put your people on, use your brothers and your sisters, and not necessarily use them, but use everybody's strengths to further the goal of advancement. Exactly. So for me, at a very young age, like I loved Keenen Ivory Wayans because I love Lauren Michaels because his name is on anything, whether he's involved or not. Yeah. But Keenen Ivory Wayans was a black guy. I was putting his brothers in, like his brothers that couldn't act at the time. I'm gonna put you guys in films. And his sister, like if you watched Delirious, if you watch Eddie Murphy's Raw, they do like this thing in the beginning where people are coming into the stadium and they're asking like testimonials. Yeah. And the first female is Kim Wayans, and Keenen Ivory Wayans produced Raw with Robert Townsend. Oh, wow. So it was like that was like my first time noticing that this dude's he's mad nepotism going on here. So yes, and I'm all about it. Like I'm all about nepotism. So so my thing is, it's not like I look up to anybody specifically, like from a comedic standpoint or from an entrepreneurial standpoint. It's always been Keenen Ivory Wayans because he's always put his people on, his friends, and always gave them an opportunity. And that's basically what I'm trying to do. I want to do, not necessarily do my thing, but any project I have, like my brother is my brand manager. Like he's going to be the one that's marketing my brand. And and my friends are in a web series, and my friends edited the book. So, and the Ted Mack is my line brother. Like we're frat brothers. Like the person that shot the Ted Mack Food Shack is also our line brother. So I like to keep a lot of things in house.
Yeah.
And that's, Keenan Ivory Wayans is probably the guy that I most aspire to be like, just because he did it using his own network.
There's it's interesting too, because when I wrote my book, when I did the Motivation Files, the album, I did the same thing. I had a family friend did the beats for me. I had a high school buddy who did the whole producing and all that kind of stuff. And there's this guy by the name of Ty Lopez. He has this 64-step process to attain the life, that you always wanted or whatever. Anyway, in that, he talks about building relationships and maintaining relationships, and also building a brand versus building an empire. And he says that one of the lessons that he learned is his goal is to constantly put on people from his own town and his own family, because he says, I guess statistics or whatever, science shows that you already have a language of your own that you don't have to recreate while going through beginning stages. So when you're creating something, there's already so many headaches that you're going to go through and, complications or whatever. If you're if you're doing that with someone who doesn't know you, that the complication or difficulty is even higher, because you got to explain little stuff. But if I'm doing it with my brothers or my cousins, you guys been around me, you're like, all right, we know how he operates. Don't do that. Don't bring coffee into the studio. It pisses him off. Let's do that. And it's already stuff that you're avoiding, and boom, it's a smoother transition.
Me and Man were just talking about it. Like, I don't like if I have to shoot anything else, I'm going to use the camera guys and crew that I had for the web series, because they know how I operate now.
Exactly.
But like for the first 4 episodes, like I wanted to curse people out so bad, but it's not because I was so mad at them. It's just I can't communicate the way I know how. Like my friends know what my threshold for things are.
Right.
And they know, like, if I cuss you out, it's not necessarily like on some anger. It's that's just how I talk.
Right.
So by like the first 4 episodes, it was really difficult for me to get through like the production of them. But by like episode 8, it was a lot of cussing going on the set, like, and I like to. He knows I'm a night owl. Like I work like until like 5 a.m. on different projects, and that doesn't necessarily mean I'm by myself. Like I'm texting the camera guys, like, oh, when you're editing, I want you to do this, and it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. Like,
yeah.
I don't want to be limited to not. If I want to text you at 4 a.m, I want to be able to do that.
Yes.
Like, I need to be able to access you at all times.
Yeah.
Whether you get a response or not, you still send like
when I was first doing it and not getting a response. I have to.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like when I wasn't getting a response, like I'm sending a response right after that. Like, yo, you have to know that this is coming at the middle of the night, and don't feel offended, but I'm going to send this stuff to you. And then he got used to it. Like sometimes he would respond, sometimes he would be sleeping. But at first, I felt bad about texting him like, yo, cut out scene 3 from this mark, and now be the end of the text. Like it's very abrupt and it's very demanding.
To the point.
I'm just trying to be like, I'm just trying to get things done.
Thorough, yeah.
So I got an idea. It's gonna make it good. Do the thing that I think that can make it good.
Right.
That's it.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely something to be said with communication and how we communicate. It's funny that you mentioned a Twitter thing, because I was always writing and doing stuff in an artistic way, but I loved reading poems and poetry, but I used to get so mad when like a haiku or something like that, where you had to write a certain way, and only so many lines, so many words. And to me,
put in a box?
Yes, that disrupted my whole creative thinking. I'm like, no, I can't even do this.
Yeah.
It's too constricting.
It's not creative. I could never be a rapper for that reason, because you have to go for a certain whatever bar or whatever they call it.
Not Lil
and
B.
It just oh yeah, well, there's some people who just disregard everything.
Bat,
but-
scarf.
And I just feel like it's limiting, and it's funny that you mentioned the Twitter thing, because I literally got frustrated with Twitter. I was like, I can't explain myself and I do understand, say it. Jim Rohn says, say it well, brevity. Say it with, when you explaining something to someone, don't abuse their time. But at the same time, it's like, well, don't abuse my thought process because I have so much to say.
Yeah.
It's not I'm not repeating myself. I still have
There's more in there that needs to come out. Is what you were
yeah, exactly. Well, I just
Well, that's what you write an 8-part tweet.
yes, exactly, and then just be obnoxious on whoever. I don't even know what you call it, someone's
I'm
wall.
taking your
whatever.
timeline up now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I know on your website you kind of offer up this connection to the world, and how they can contact you to do collaborations. What you also alluded to writing another book. What's next, or what are you looking for? What projects would you like to get into? And I know you mentioned the other guy. Was it called The Other Guys?
Yeah. Other guys.
Other Guys series. So what's next?
All right.
And then aside from what's next, what would be cool to do?
Well, what's next is figuring out how to make this book right now into a really engaging audiobook, because I don't like audiobooks. I don't like the way they're done. I don't like listening to them. The way that I'm trying to do this audiobook is going to be different. It's just I have to figure out how to do it. Like, I don't want to be in the studio reading like the sly brown fox. No, I want there to be like a sly fox in the studio with me, and you're going to figure it out as I'm relaying something over the microphone. Like, it's going to be very interactive. I'm toying with the idea of calling it like a literary mixtape. Like, there would be music, there'll be a performance component to it, but it won't be a regular audiobook, and that's the next phase of the book. That's the next project. Book 2 is pretty much done. Just got to get edited, and hopefully it'll be out in this summer. It's kind of like a piggybacking off of the web series Quarter Life.
Okay.
It's basically, if book 1 is the greatest party of all time, book 2 is the eviction notice on the door.
Nice.
And that's what the book is all about.
Nice.
So, and then what I would really, and Ted Max Food Shack is always ongoing. We're going to try to drop a new episode every month in a different city. I really want to go to Atlanta. I don't know why. I just want to go to Atlanta.
There's something.
Because I don't think I've been there in a while, but I really want to go, like, invade someone's kitchen and do something and say, like, yo, we went to Atlanta and did a cooking show. So,
Yeah.
but something that'd be fun and really cool to do. This girl Tiff hit me up about her like, she's trying to do a cooking show too, and I thought it was like, I was humbling that she hit me up to ask me like how I did mine, and asking questions about it. So what would be cool for me to do is to really help others produce their content. Like, however you, like, if you have a story, how do we develop it? Does it work well as a mixtape? Does it work well as a book? Does it work well as a digital series? Let's develop it. Let's change it, because I really want to do different stories, because I'm a black male, and I want to do, now I could write stories and do different things about that experience, but I really want to get into other experiences, other races, ethnicities, sexualities, just different types of people with different stories that aren't being told. Like, I think ABC is doing a really good job of attacking families from different views. You got Modern Family, who's got these different types of families through divorce and all that, and then you've got the O'Neills, which is about a Catholic family with a homosexual in it, and you got Fresh Off the Boat, which is about an Asian family. So they're going crazy with these family stories, but from different like angles.
Right.
And that's because they have writers that have experienced those angles. So I mean, there's obviously other people out there with their stories to tell. Sure. And they're not seeing their stories anywhere. So that's why you empower them to tell their own story. So that's kind of what I wanted. That'll be really cool for me to, be able to pull these people that, yo, I did this, and this, and I want to tell the world. All right, let's figure out how to tell the world.
So there's nothing off limits for you. There's somebody who can't come up with a topic that you're gonna be like, oh.
No.
So it seems like also in connection with that you're doing a lot of this stuff. You've basically created a foundation. So if someone came in and like, I want to write a book, you're like, well, I read a book. So they want to do, and it's cool seeing that, and maybe even elaborating off of each, what you're doing with, if you have the the audio book of the Hammy Grail. What I guess you kind of did mention it with the audio book. What you have so much creative energy, and you're collaborating with other people. What's the ultimate goal do you want the Dashy Factory to just be that brand, and people say the Dashy Factory, and they're like, oh well, he's the creative hub of whatever perspective you want it to be?
I don't know if I want the Dashy Factory to be like a brand. It's just basically like the Dashy Factory literally is me pumping out content. Dash's Factory, just pumping out anything that gets produced, like any idea, we're just pumping it out.
And then you want to build brands off of that?
Yeah, I mean, not to say build brands, but see, I'm not thinking that far ahead, but I'm thinking more so like I want people to, like I want the Dashy Factory in itself to be a platform, like kind of like Pharrell's I Am Other. Okay. He has this YouTube channel where he's going out and producing other people's stuff too. And he's finding these stories and he's finding this content and he's gobbling it up and redoing it, reproducing it with better quality and putting it on his YouTube channel.
Got it.
And that's kind of what I want that platform to be. I want the Dashy Factory to be a platform for people to know that their stuff is getting viewed, is getting consumed. And to know that if you go to the Dashy Factory, you're going to get different types of content. You're not going to get the same. It was funny. I was watching TBS today. And I was like, this is not the TBS of 2005.
Sure.
Like it's a whole new channel. And that's what I want this to be. I want it to be like not just a new channel.
Like it's just like top level umbrella of like just a portal for a bunch of different
you can
kinds
see,
of content.
Yeah, any type of, whether it's all humor or there's other things that aren't humor. I really do want it to be a situation where you can go to and see kind of like how Viceland is. Like there's nothing like Viceland on TV.
Yeah.
And but they specialize in like docuseries and just I don't know. They have the one show called Black Market. It's fascinating. It's
oh my gosh, I love that.
It's a fascinating show.
The one episode with the Tide soap.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
These dudes were pushing Tide soap out of like these big 5, 10,
Oh,
20
you were
gallon.
smuggling it.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, I'm like this. I know it sounds bad, but it was genius stuff that these guys were doing. I'm like, and they couldn't arrest them because they didn't have the label slapped on just yet. So they caught them right before they're about to slap on labels, and they stopped everything. They, I guess had the camera crew. They had this whole thing set up. But when they did it, the guys didn't actually slap on the Tide stickers just yet on the orange buckets, so they couldn't do anything about it. They couldn't prove. They weren't doing anything. There was no.
They were like bootlegging, sort of.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was.
I got an orange bucket and I got a Tide sticker.
Yeah.
But it's not quite
Jail.
Yeah, that was the biggest difference. They're just making up some cheap like dollar store soap out of their own.
Trying to put the
literally, it was out of like it was out of like a U-Haul, like the garage, like the storage units.
Nice.
They're pushing. They're doing it out of there.
That's crazy. Yeah. But I mean, you could smell the difference from Tide.
Well, no, but hold on. But here's what the guy said. He said, "Tell that to a mom of 8 kids who's doing it by herself. She needs that much soap. She doesn't care what it smells like. Is it soap? Yeah. Does it clean? Yeah. Okay. Is that how much is it? $20. That's gonna last her 2 months. Versus she's going to the store and buying this little half a gallon John for the same price.
Okay.
He's selling it to people. Well, who buys bootleg stuff?
I didn't even know you could get bootleg laundry detergent.
Dude, apparently they bootleg Nike golf clubs. You can bootleg anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am well aware of that. I got stuff that faded. They shouldn't have faded.
Sneakers was the funny bootleg stuff. But anyway, so do you want this when you have people, collaborate with you, are you trying to like pump them out as your artist and you're like under the thing, or is it like they own their own material, they own, because just going even to like bringing it to the hip hop sector of creativeness, where the whole thing with YMCMB and Cash Money,
right,
where there's this whole contract thing where basically Lil Wayne signed his whole entire life for the rest of his life,
right,
back when he was 2, when he started rapping, and he's screwed now. And then there's this big miscommunication because the person wants to own everything, every word that comes out of his mouth. Where's the line though? Because then what if someone is on your, in your hub, and you basically gave them this platform that you've worked so hard for, right, and all of a sudden they blow up, and then you're like, oh, I'm just a nice guy, I just helped them out, and then you walk away.
My thing, I think that like even what I've always wanted to do was like I want to produce something that somebody else will pick up, but then you'd have to pick me up as well. So if I'm picking somebody else up, I want to be a part of that project. Like I want to. Like if you bring me an idea, I want to work on that idea with you, and we develop it together. So that it's a partnership, because you obviously came to me for a reason. You obviously came to me because you needed to get to a different level. Like I've gone to people because I need to get to a different level.
Yeah.
So I I think that's how it should be. Like, I'm not trying to. I wouldn't say, oh, I want to own everybody's stuff.
You're trying to exploit people is what you're trying to do.
You know, I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to exploit anybody. But I want to be a part of the process where it becomes like it might be your idea, but I'm helping you develop that idea.
So when it's done, it's our idea.
It's out.
Kind of Shark Tank you.
Actually, I watch Shark Tank every day.
I love
every
Shark
single
Tank.
Shark Tank's awesome.
There's
I
no
love
more
Shark Tank.
like. There's no more episodes I haven't seen. Like I go to on demand every day and wait for the new one to just like release, so that I can watch it that day. I have to do that when I get home. But that's basically what I would want the Dashy Factory to be, like a place where you can come, develop your idea, we make it something, and then we pump it out to the world.
It becomes mutually beneficial
right.
to both of you.
And if you move on and do your, like I want to move on and do my thing. I want to change the book into a screenplay. Somebody's going to have to change my book into a screenplay.
Gotcha.
I don't want to write it again. So I mean, that's kind of how I see it. Like I could write a screenplay, but I would prefer somebody else to write it into a screenplay. Like I don't want to play the role of Ham. I want somebody else to play the role of Ham. You know. So art is a collaborative effort in every aspect.
Yeah.
So that's just how I see it.
Good stuff. All right. So after everything we just discussed, and which I think it's great that we're talking about quarter life and the beginning portions of life with the Hammy Grail. What would you tell a 15-year-old Dash? So that's 15's before you start
Devin,
everything.
15-year-old Devin, before
15-year-old
you met
Devin.
Dash.
Because Dash was 18, right?
Yeah.
Something that now, or it's not like we're like the all-knowing wise gentleman of whatever, but what values and lessons that you have collected, what would you tell the 15-year-old Devin that you think might have gotten to where you are now faster, or is just straight solid advice that would have helped?
I don't have like values that I've learned. Like I don't know. Good.
He has
God.
no value.
Like there's no.
Yeah, he got no values.
There's no values. It's like-
Nothing.
I'm really I'm a strong proponent of like figure it out. Like I don't like my parents. They were strict, but like my pops was always like figure it out. Like just go get burned on something. Like go scrape your face. Like it'll heal. Like Manny knows I have a very indestructible personality. Like I'm not gonna die ever.
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna happen to me. I can do what I want, and I'll figure out the consequences of it. And I think that's how I've always lived my life. Like even when things went wrong for me, I'm just like, all right. It is what it is.
Just
like,
another
all right,
stepping stone.
This is what has to happen. Apparently, like I have no control over what I do. So I don't know what the
Well, no, it's good. I think the answer in itself is fine, because what I have been gathering anyway from.
Yeah, actually, I do have a value.
All right, so go ahead.
So when I was, so my thing is, you can't judge people for where they are right now. Like I think when I first got out of high school, I used to. The high school I went to was a Catholic high school. When I was going there, they were a strong proponent. We sent 100% of our senior class to 4-year colleges, and that was like their thing. Whether it was true or not, like that was the propaganda. And so it was this big culture of you had to get into college, a 4-year college, whether you knew what you wanted to do or not.
Yeah.
And if you went to community, if you didn't get into those college or it wasn't in a bulletin, like you weren't somebody, or you didn't do what you were supposed to do in high school, and you obviously failed high school, or if you had to go to community college, or you just didn't go to college, or if you went to the military, and that was crazy for me for me looking back, like that's a crazy
it is.
perspective to have to put on to like 15, 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-old kids. Like you must go to a 4-year college and put yourself in debt because that's the status quo, that's the norm.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I wouldn't have gone to college out of high school, but I wouldn't have had such a judgmental perspective on people that didn't go. Like even my route of going through college, if I was 15 looking at myself right now, I would probably be judgy. I'd be like, yo, that's me back then. I think that I was naive and I was judgmental on how life worked, because I thought I had life like we said earlier. Like when you get out of high school, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and when I come home like Prince Ali, I'm going to be the man. It is what it is, and it doesn't work out that way. So I think that maybe that might be something I would tell 15. Like it'll never work out the way you think it'll work out.
I agree.
Absolutely.
All right, perfect. All right, let's wrap this bad boy up. All right, so before we cut out Devin, how can people get in contact with you? How can they get their hands on this beautiful book here, and how can they connect with you?
I want everybody to buy the book. I want everybody to view the content. So you can go to thedashyfactory.com. You can get in contact with me by dash@thedashyfactory.com. The book is available on my website, or you can go to Amazon and just type in my name, or you can type in The Hammy Grail, and it'll come right up. It's available on Kindle. It's available for paperback in iTunes and iBook. But it's available. The book is available everywhere, The Hammy Grail. And yeah, you can go to the Dashy Factory. Make sure you watch the content, like the content. If you buy the book, leave a review. I do not care what the review is. I just like reviews. So if you didn't like it, you didn't like it. If you loved it, that's cool.
So how do you have any social media handles?
We got the Dashy Factory is on Twitter, so at the Dashy Factory. And Instagram, it's Machine Gun Dashy. I had that before Machine Gun Kelly, I think, because I actually liked the mobster. So.
Oh, gotcha.
Instagram, Machine Gun Dashy, and Twitter is the Dashy at the Dashy Factory.
All right, perfect. All right, we're gonna wrap this episode up with quotes from Les Brown and Louis Tomlinson. First quote goes, "We have to live life with a sense of urgency, so not a minute is wasted." And the second one is by Louis Tomlinson. "Live life for the moment because everything else is uncertain." Live your dash. In this episode, we have special guest Devin DeShields, the creator of the Dashy Factory. After giving us a brief bio on himself, Devin explains the Dashy Factory, why he started it, and what the vision is for the company. We were lucky enough for him to explain his new collection, The Quarter Life, which is a new digital series inspired by true stories, Ted Mack's Food Shack, a new pop-up cooking show, and of course The Hammy Grail, which is a new book Devin authored, and it's now available on iTunes. We wrap the episode up with quotes from Les Brown and Louis Tomlinson. Awesome. Guys, thanks again for joining us. The Rotated Views podcast was produced for self-development purposes. Huge shout out to our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by the Blessed Lifestyle brand. That is BL3SSED.com. Also sponsored by The Motivation Files Unleashed. This motivational mixtape will be your fuel for success. Available on all platforms. Guys, don't forget to visit the website, JimmyleeVelez.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Rotated Views. If you have any inquiries or questions, email us at info@JimmyleeVelez.com. On behalf of myself and the rest of the crew, we wish you massive success. Stay blessed.